More Pokemon, more PokéPark, more friendship. These are all the amazing things PokéPark 2 Wonders Beyond promised to deliver us when it was shown off to the world, and did it absolutely ever deliver. I'm here once again to ramble on about niche Pokemon spin-offs, and naturally it's time to cover the sequel to PokéPark. If you haven't watched my retrospective on PokéPark 1, I would recommend watching it first, as I will reference a few things in the first game. But of course, if you already know everything about the first game too, then you're probably fine. I find that PokéPark 2 greatly expands upon PokéPark 1, and while the first one was a very good game, the sequel is even better. So I have a lot more to talk about with it. Strap in, and let's talk about what makes this game such an amazing sequel.
PokéPark 2 Wonders Beyond. Something's gone terribly wrong. Pokemon are missing, it's a mystery. Sounds like a job for the ultimate team. They must explore which park to try and rescue their friends. With 2 worlds, it's twice the fun, and twice the excitement for everyone.
PokéPark 2 Wonders Beyond, only on Wii, rated E for everyone.
PokéPark 2 was released November 12, 2011 in Japan, and then February 27, 2012 in North America. I was really excited for this game as a kid, and I still remember going to EB Games when it came out with my mom to pick it up. This was the last Pokemon game to ever be released on the Nintendo Wii, and one of the first Generation 5 spin-off games. With the first PokéPark being part of Generation 4, this one is stuffed full of Unova Pokemon, and they are the main focus of the game, which was pretty common for most Gen 5 spin-offs, such as Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity, and not to mention the first Gen 5 mainline games themselves, Black and White, featuring only brand new Unova Pokemon for the main storyline of the game. This tends to be hit or miss for most people, but I find it generally boils down to whether or not you like the Unova Pokemon. For me personally, I love the Unova Pokédex. There's only a couple I don't like. One of my all-time favorites, Audino, belongs to Unova, so I have to love it. To really drive home the connection to Black and White, the title itself is a reference. Wonders Beyond, or WB, standing for White and Black. This is even more noticeable in the Japanese title, Beyond the World. PokéPark 2 features some very notable changes from the original game, so let's move on and talk about those. I would say the biggest upgrade from PokéPark 1 is the ability to play as 3 additional characters alongside Pikachu. Throughout the game, you now become friends with the Unova starters Oshawott, Snivy, and Tepig. They each have their own unique strengths and weaknesses, and give you some good variety in world exploration now that you don't have to be just playing as Pikachu, like in PokéPark 1. There's also a much lessened focus on attractions, as there's now only a whopping 4 attractions you have to complete the game, compared to PokéPark 1's 14 attractions. This means Wonders Beyond has a much stronger focus on the befriending aspect of the game. I would also say PokéPark 2 has a much more polished UI design, notably the pause menu. It looks great. Aside from those things, you're getting most of the same ideas in Wonders Beyond, just with some much new areas to explore, Pokemon to meet, and a wildly different story. Let's talk about the gameplay. There isn't a lot to say about the gameplay that can't be said about PokéPark 1, so like I mentioned, if you don't know how these games work, I recommend watching the video I did on the first game. But there are a few new things I can go over. For example, the battle system is much more in-depth. You'll find it to be familiar, but now you have so many more options for combat. With the ability to switch between the 4 protagonists, you can mix it up for the optimal type matchup in every battle. Pikachu wasn't very strong against ground types in PokéPark 1, but now Wonders Beyond you can switch to Oshawott or Snivy to deal super effective damage. On top of that, every character has access to 3 different attacks. Pikachu has his usual Tackle, Thunderbolt, and Iron Tail. Now the other characters have unique up-close combat attacks, range attacks, and special attacks you can use by shaking the Wiimote. And all this also gets reflected outside of combat. Each character has their own uses when exploring the world. Oshawott can hop in bodies of water to swim around. Snivy can jump higher to reach secret spots, and Tepig can charge to break rocks apart. Personally, I'm a Snivy main. She is extremely fast, even when she's not dashing. And if you upgrade her dash completely, she's an unbeatable speed queen in chase games. Because I like to suffer, I chose to use her in almost every battle, even ones where I'm at a major type disadvantage. I just love how fast she moves, and it lets me dodge attacks quickly to get through each fight. That being said, you aren't completely alone if a battle is looking too tough for you. There's now an assist feature where if your HP falls too low, you can hit A to call in one of the Pokemon you've befriended in that area at random. They'll unleash a strong attack on the enemy to help you out. One time, I even had sweet little Caterpie hop in to assist me, or you'll get lucky and have Victini join the fray with a super strong attack. Of course, the 4 protagonists have their unique uses in chase games as well. I already mentioned how fast Snivy is, but if it's a water type then you're going to want to use Oshawott, and Pikachu's Thunderbolt is really useful against some Pokemon as well. As a hub location, PokéPark 1 had the meeting place, which was a very small area with a treehouse that connected to each area. They greatly expanded this concept with your new hub in Wonders Beyond, which is called Cove Town. It's a cute little beachy town with various back alleys and rooftops to explore. The central part of town is a fountain and is surrounded by the Pokemon that will perform your upgrades for you. Of course, this includes a sweet, adorable Audino who will happily upgrade your HP for you, granted you have the berries to make up for how hungry it makes her. Yes, just like in PokéPark 1, berries are your main currency, and now that you have 4 characters to play as, there's much more to upgrade. You can upgrade every Pokemon's HP and dash speed, but then you can also upgrade all 3 of their attacks. Of course, that's done with special Pokemon in Cove Town being Raichu, Servine, Duat, and Pignite. You can guess who goes to who. I love how much there is to upgrade because it always makes it fun to return to Cove Town and spend all those hard-earned berries on improving your heroes. Speaking of berries, they're much more plentiful in this game as well. Outside of earning them from befriending Pokemon, you can now find them hidden away in chests around the world. PokéPark 1 didn't have much in the way of secret collectibles to find, but the areas of Wonders Beyond gives you much more incentive to look for secrets. On top of the chests that contain berries and special items, there's also smaller collectibles that will respawn on the ground, and are usually used to befriend specific kinds of Pokemon who are looking for certain kinds of items. There's also these vast white quills, which you're going to want to pick up, as you need 20 of them to get to the post-game storyline. Yeah, that's right, the post-game storyline. We get one of those this time. Now, about those 4 attractions. Their purpose is rooted deep in the storyline and the main progression of the game, and completing one of them is kind of like completing a chapter in Paper Mario, if that makes any sense. They all use motion controls, just like the first game, and they're all accompanied by a unique major boss fight after completion. And, well, unlike the attractions in the first game, which were meant to be good fun for all Pokemon, these ones have some more sinister intentions behind them. Wonders Beyond opens up with a very happy scene. Pikachu and his best friend Piplup head to a brand new area to make new friends. Yeah, it's the Piplup from the first game. These 2 are the only characters you carry over from PokéPark 1. I have no idea what happened to Charmander and Chikorita, but may they live on in our memory. You make your way down a path this Piplup teaches you the basics. And wow, these kids have no idea what they're about to get themselves into. Unlike PokéPark 1, there's actually an active threat and antagonist at work in this game, a mysterious new area called the Wish Park. The Wish Park is luring Pokemon in with the promise of fun attractions, and then keeping them trapped there forever. You first meet Oshawott as he's looking into the case of the Wish Park, and find that you can only enter it through the magical poster portals located in each area. On your first arrival, everything seems fine, until you realize how strange the other Pokemon are acting. The boss of the first Wish Park attraction, Coffee attempts to capture our heroes as well with evil cake, but they make a break for it. Unfortunately, upon their escape, Piplup sacrifices himself by pushing Pikachu and Oshawott through the portal, leaving himself behind in Wish Park. And that is what kicks off the grand adventure. You have to gather up as many friends as you can in each area, and wish upon the poster portals to open them so you can get to Wish Park, clear the next attraction, fight the boss, and ring the bell to free all the Pokemon being held captive. There's 4 Wish Park zones: Cake, Dance, Power, and Flight. Each has a bell to be rung, an attraction to clear, and a boss to take down. Of course, during your travels, Pikachu and Oshawott meet Snivy, the princess of the Arbor area, and Tepig, a timid warrior. The cast meshes together well, and my favorite aspect of it is the bickering and banter between Snivy and Oshawott's clashing personalities. I really love the way this story progresses. With the Wish Park and bells, it feels a lot more structured than PokéPark 1, and there's something really calming about the ringing of each bell. They all have their own unique chimes, and it's heartwarming to hear it rung out across the park and see the poor captured Pokemon finally come to their senses and happily head back home to PokéPark. One aspect that I really like about the Wish Park bosses is that you always have to complete a unique challenge before you can fight them. For example, in the Cake Zone, you first have to destroy a giant cake that Cofagrigus is standing on top of to fight him. Or in the Dance Zone, you have to destroy various sound equipment being tossed at you by Chandelure, ending with a giant disco ball that tries to roll over you. And as one quick note, I have to show you Cofagrigus' walk cycle, because it is amazing and not something we see in every game. As you clear more Wish Park attractions, you'll start to realize what kind of theme this game is going for. It's presented pretty blatantly, even early on, but they make it clearly apparent by the end as well. Pokemon Black and White is all about the concept of truths versus ideals, with Zekrom and Reshiram representing each. If you don't know the story behind this, it all relates to Unova lore, and not something I'm going to get into here, but it's pretty self-explanatory at surface level, at least for this game. The PokéPark represents the truth, while the Wish Park represents ideals. Every zone in the Wish Park has a different method of keeping Pokemon captive, but they all do it because they want the Pokemon there to be happy and have fun. Forever. And that's the true goal of the Wish Park's master, to create an ideal world where Pokemon can have fun forever and ever and ever and ever. And who is this great mastermind? Well, it's Darkrai, of course. You only get introduced to him by the 3rd attraction. Up until then, you've just been dealing with his right-hand assistant, Gothitelle, and her right-hand assistant, Gothorita, and her right-hand assistant, Gothita. Yep, the villainous force of this game is Darkrai and his goth wife, along with her 2 goth children. The main motivation behind Darkrai's plan is his loneliness, driving his desire to govern a world where Pokemon can play with him forever. It truly is his ideal world, contrasting the truth world of the PokéPark. Oh, and let's not forget about our good friend Piplup. Throughout your quest, he declares that he will stay in Wish Park so we can further investigate and warn Pokemon who enter about the dangers of playing the attractions. But come the time you reach the Power Zone, a heartbreaking trade is made. The Gothitelle agrees to return a captured Victini to you, only in exchange for Piplup being taken under their wing as part of their team. With a more determined Pikachu than ever before, the stakes become ever higher. Your best friend from the original game has now been taken by the antagonists, and to top it all off, now there's a black hole in the sky. Ever played Super Paper Mario? You know, 4 legendary heroes have to stop an ever-growing void in the sky from consuming all worlds. Well, that's also the plot of PokéPark 2. It doesn't come into play until about halfway through the game, but Zekrom and Reshiram inform Pikachu that the Wish Park is causing an imbalance of truths and ideals, causing a dark vortex to open up in the sky, growing bigger and bigger until it will eventually destroy both worlds. Naturally, the only way to stop it is to find your way to the center of Wish Park and put an end to all this nonsense. Once the 4th and final Wish Park bell is rung in the Flight Zone, every section of the park connects together to create one big unified Wish Park, with the entrance to the Wish Palace opening up in the very middle. Now, here's where the story starts to really get me. You'd walk into the Wish Palace surely expecting to fight Darkrai or Gothitelle, but instead you're met with the worst possible scenario. Your best friend Piplup upon the Wish Palace throne, waiting for your arrival. He expresses how much he just wants to play with his best friend Pikachu forever, and that's the very thing he was expressing at the start of the game too. He went into this whole situation just wanting to spend time with his friend, make new memories and have fun, and instead he's been captured by the Wish Park, made one of their own. And what is he forced to face now? Pikachu, with 3 new friends determined to stop him. And what really hurts about this whole thing is that now you have to fight Piplup. And it depends who you walked into the scene with, but if you fight him with anybody other than Pikachu, that's an extra slap in the face to poor Piplup here. Once you beat him, he's so upset that all he can do is run away, tears streaming down his face. You try to go after him, but Darkrai gets in your way. Really, I find it's a unique direction to go with, and surprisingly complex too. It makes it all the more impactful that it's the character we know and love from the original game. Once Piplup is defeated, Darkrai finally recognizes that the power of friendship is simply too strong. He recognizes that it's the reason you've been able to persevere for so long, and so he does what any other villain should do, cast a spell that erases all memory Pikachu's friends have of him, and then plunges Pikachu into a nightmare. Yeah, he just erases friendship, because he can do that. Fortunately for us, after a super sad cutscene of Pikachu wandering around all alone in the rain, he's pulled out of his nightmare by Piplup, who's come back to his senses. With an all-new renewed sense of confidence thanks to Piplup, Pikachu is set to go and find his friends and restore their memories of him through skill games. You get to see them all express how much better they feel when traveling with their friends. Oshawott can't solve cases on his own, and Snivy finds life much more fun and enjoyable with her friends. Tepig feels timid and afraid without friends. Reigniting your friendship, you're all set to confront Darkrai stronger than you were before. Darkrai, determined to not let anybody interfere with his ideal world, puts on a strong two-phase fight in an attempt to take you down, even Dynamaxing himself in the second phase, before Dynamax was a thing. But things aren't just over because you beat him in battle. After your fight, you're brought outside to witness the Dark Vortex in full form, completely consuming the Wish Park. Everyone works together to try and stop the vortex, but Oshawott gets caught up by its pull. While everyone attempts to pull him back in, he gives a heartfelt smile, as if saying goodbye, before letting go. As everyone else begins to go with him, a heartbroken Pikachu seems to strike a note in Darkrai's heart. And that's when he says the line, "This is not the world I was wishing for." He takes the magical vortex-killing plot device and sacrifices himself to stop the destruction. In the aftermath, everyone returns to Wish Park safely, except for him. No, I promise there's more to it than that. That's actually literally how the main game ends. After that scene, the credits just start to roll. In post-game, you get to explore PokéPark and a restored Wish Park to your heart's content, befriend new Pokemon, and embark on a quest to find and save Darkrai. But that's not something I plan to cover in this video because I think it's outside the scope of my main points. What I truly love about the ending of this game is that when you explore the post-Vortex Wish Park, you get to see Pokemon playing and having fun, enjoying themselves without being forced to or held against their will. He may not be there to witness it, but this is the sort of world Darkrai would have truly wanted. Well, that was a lot, wasn't it? I love this game's story. It's about the battle of truths and ideals, but something it teaches us above all else is that friendship can conquer both. It's like they took the message of PokéPark 1 and cranked it up to 100. I mentioned this in the first video, that PokéPark is not a game I would recommend to most people, but PokéPark 2 is a game that I recommend to most people. I think it has a lot more to offer, and the exciting story and engaging themes are something I think a lot of people would enjoy. So if you haven't played Wonders Beyond, and you're still interested despite watching a bunch of spoilers, I seriously do recommend giving it a try. It's a real treat, and it's something that Pokemon just doesn't seem to make these days. And that concludes my video. I hope that anybody who hasn't played PokéPark or didn't know about it has learned a thing or two about why they're so special to a lot of people, myself included. To quote a very wise philosopher, Mew, mew, mew. Thanks for watching.